You know, there's one topic that causes a lot of confusion, resistance, and even irritation, and that topic is self-love. For some people, it sounds inspiring. For others, it sounds selfish, fake, or even dangerous. And if the phrase self-love makes you uncomfortable, if something inside you tightens when you hear it, that's actually a good sign. It means this conversation is for you. Let's be clear from the start. We are not talking about narcissism. We're not talking about putting yourself above everyone else. We're not talking about ignoring other people or becoming cold and self-centered. Real self-love has nothing to do with that. In fact, real self-love looks very different from what most people imagine. Self-love is not about thinking you're special, superior, or better than others. It's not about constantly admiring yourself or pretending everything is perfect. At its core, self-love is simply the absence of inner war. That's it. No drama, no slogans, no forcing yourself to feel something you don't feel. Most people live with constant internal pressure. There's a voice inside that keeps checking, judging, correcting, and pushing. Are you good enough? Are you doing enough? Why are you still like this? You should be better by now. And this voice often sounds reasonable. It pretends to be discipline, responsibility, or common sense. Many of us believe that if we stop being hard on ourselves, we'll become lazy, weak, or stuck. We think self-criticism is what keeps us moving. But here's the uncomfortable truth. This belief didn't come from wisdom. It came from conditioning. From childhood, many of us learned that love is something you earn. First, you behave well. First, you try harder. First, you become convenient, successful, or strong. And only then you're allowed warmth, care, and acceptance. Over time, we turn that same system inward. We start treating ourselves the same way. We live as if self-love is a reward for becoming someone else. As if we must fix ourselves before we're allowed to be kind to ourselves. And without realizing it, we create a constant state of inner tension, where rest feels wrong and mistakes feel dangerous. Let me ask you something very simple. Would you treat a child that way? Would you tell a child, "I'll support you when you're better," or "I'll care about you once you stop failing"? Of course not. Yet many people speak to themselves like this every single day. Self-love is not an emotion. It's not excitement or constant confidence. Self-love is a relationship. It's how you treat yourself when you're tired, confused, disappointed, or scared. It's the tone of your inner dialogue when things don't go as planned. And here's something important. Most people don't hate themselves. They're just not on their own side. They push themselves, pressure themselves, and invalidate their own feelings, thinking this is what strength looks like. But living against yourself slowly drains your energy, your creativity, and your sense of safety. Self-love does not make you selfish. It makes you whole. Egoism comes from emptiness, from trying to fill an inner void through attention, control, or validation from others. Self-love, on the other hand, creates inner stability. When you have that stability, you don't need to prove your worth or compete for importance. A person who is truly on their own side doesn't shout about themselves. They don't demand constant recognition. They don't manipulate or compare. They move through life with more calm, more honesty, and more respect for others because they're no longer fighting themselves. Let's simplify this even more. Self-love is when you stop breaking yourself in order to improve. It's when you stop using shame, fear, and pressure as tools for growth. Because everything built on self-hate eventually collapses. It leads to burnout, numbness, or quiet despair. Real change doesn't happen when you're unhappy with who you are. It happens when you feel safe enough to be honest with yourself. When mistakes don't feel like a threat. When rest doesn't feel like failure. Growth comes from safety, not from punishment. There's a paradox many people don't talk about. People don't change because they criticize themselves enough. They change when they stop being afraid of themselves. When the inner space becomes supportive instead of hostile, movement becomes natural. If you're thinking right now, but if I accept myself, I'll stay stuck. I want you to hear this clearly. You're not stuck because you accept yourself. You're stuck because you're constantly fighting yourself. Acceptance is not the end of growth. It's the starting point. Take a moment right now. Just breathe. And ask yourself one honest question, without pressure and without trying to answer correctly. Have I ever truly been on my own side? Not perfect, not successful, just human. If the answer is no, that's okay. That's not a failure. That might be the beginning, not with affirmations, not with forcing positivity, but with one quiet decision. I am no longer my own enemy. If you're listening to this video, it means something inside you is already looking for warmth instead of perfection, and that matters more than you think. You might want to listen to this video again, slowly, without rushing. Some of the simplest truths take time to land, and I'll remind you of what we repeat here again and again. Anything is possible.